Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I've already done this trade and it didn't have a lick of sound, so I'm redoing it, and I'm demonstrating a trade here. I went short. It's coming off the trend line. You can see I'm going to try to scalp out 8 contracts on 4 ticks, and I'm going to try to get a runner going here. And I recorded this thing, did the whole video, and then realized no sound. So the video's already been recorded. I'm just going back and dubbing the sound over it. I'll try to describe what I'm doing here. What happened there was I got out before it had moved. It only moved 4 ticks, so I got out a little bit early on my limit order there. I got lucky, and so I'm not tightening my stop to break even yet because it'll be too close. So I'm gonna wait till it moves at least the 4 ticks, and then I'll tighten it. And it moves on down. There you go. So then it automatically tightened. I'm still going to give it a tick there above that other bar. And basically what ends up happening is we end up finding a bottom here. And I miss getting my 3-point scalp by a tick, I think, a tick or two. And I end up only getting a point on the runners. So, but the reason I like this trade, you can see the channel working down. And I can't use there you can see the channel working down. There was a trade where I just pointed, and there's the trade I saw there. And I used the limit order here, and it actually triggered before I could get the trade going. So, but it was such a good setup, I just hated not to show you the trade. I didn't want to throw it away since there was no volume or no sound, but I wanted to describe what's happening. And really what we had a channel working down, a channel that worked up, and then now we've got another channel working down. And I'm really looking, you can see my arrow, the long blue arrow. That's a measured move from the first channel, first move down. So I'm looking for a possible measured move. I don't know if we're going to end up getting that measured move because we end up breaking this trend line right here and making a move higher. And I haven't even looked back at the chart yet to see what ends up happening. But basically what will end up happening on this trade is it'll go lower here, and I miss my getting out of this, getting my 3-point scalp, and you can see me showing you the measured move there with the arrows. Man, I really hate that I had to do this over again. This has been the last few days have been just stressful for me. And actually, I got some emails while we're waiting on this to play out here. I got a couple of different emails. More than one of you noticed. They said, Mac, you sounded really tired yesterday. Is everything okay? Well, I just think that's interesting. And you see, I'm about to get my scalp here, and I think we miss it by 1 tick. So I got 1 tick too greedy here in the end. But anyway, going back to that, it's interesting how some of you have listened to me so long. I guess you can read my voice now. But my in-laws are in town. I've been here all weekend for my son's graduation. So it's been like a madhouse at my house. I love my in-laws to death, but it's tough when you got a bunch of people in your house and things are not normal. Plus, with the holiday Bundy, I was out of the office, and so a million people looking for me, a million things going on, phones ringing off the hook, all that good stuff. So needless to say, I was tired, and yesterday was a long trading day. I traded a long time yesterday, longer than usual, but it was such a good move, and I was just wore out by the end of the day by the time I did the video. And so if you noticed, I sounded a little tired. Everything's great, but between my in-laws and everything else going on, I was a little stressed out yesterday afternoon and just a little tired. And then today, the first thing off the bat, I spend 30 minutes on a video and get ready to produce it, and it's got absolutely no sound to it. So it's just been kind of the way it's gone for me last couple of days. So I apologize. And you see here, I'm going to end up missing this. I really thought we'd go lower right here when we broke below this bar, but it goes 1 tick lower, I believe, and then reverses out of there pretty quickly. And then I end up tightening my stop, and of course it takes it out. And it's a good thing I did because prices ended up moving a good bit higher, and that's why I do trade the way I do, because I don't want to give it back. I'd rather take my profits and look for a new entry, and because the market can change. And you can see we're trying to break this trend line here, and it's really finding resistance there. And it sets up a second entry short down here, I believe, if I remember right, but it's too far. You don't want to be going short way down here, a place like this, especially when prices are that far away from the EMA. I think, yeah, I think this is where it sets up and it's a nice looking reversal bar. But that's why they'll give you bars like that down here to trap you in at the lows. And so you don't, it's way too low to be, and there it was. It just triggered right there. The only way that I would even consider entering this is if I could get in way up at the top with a limit order. But there's too big a chance that you might get a trend line break here, and so it's not worth it in my opinion. You're better off to wait, let this. I mean, you can see all the overlapping bars here, and you can see the strong support. They buy it every time it gets down there around that little point. And I think we do drop on down here, and like I said, we missed I was trying to get 3 points on these runners. At first I was going to shoot for it coming down to the trend channel line again, but you can see that's not going to happen here. There's too much buying right in there. This looks like a reversal pattern. Notice how each swing is getting shorter and shorter. And notice how hard a time they're having going below that 1638.50 area right there. And then once we do get through it, prices bounce instantly. So not a good sign. Doesn't mean that we can't still go lower, but that's just not a good sign. And so I tighten my stop here and. On my runners, and I end up getting a point. I think this trade ended up making, we made $400 on the scalp, and we made $100 on the runners. So this trade made $500. And if we'd have got the scalp, we'd have made $700, which would have been a really nice trade. But, we'll take the 500 and go to the bank with it and leave it at that. So, and again, I hate that, I couldn't describe this in real time, and I'm really almost just didn't do a video today, but it's it's an interesting day, and I think most people need to see what I thought I saw anyway. And if you start over there with overnight, you can see the down channel, and this could just be the retest on that channel, but that's a fairly big break. So I think we had the break earlier during the overnight, and then we had 2 legs down, then we were correcting. But either way you saw it, even if you didn't, because a lot of times those overnight breaks will not change much, because it's not uncommon to get some overshoots on either side. So this may be the retest going on right here, but we've got it in place now. And but then we had, after the first channel down, then we had a channel moving up, and then we had the break of that channel and 2 legs up to a new high, and then we've been working down ever since. And you can kind of see that we're still trying to go lower here, but it's really finding support right there. And look at all that overlap now. Guess what? We've got we got a double bottom there. We got a lot of overlapping bars. No reason to be entering short here now, unless you got a trap of some kind with a big move up and then turns and gives you a big bearish bar or something. But that never happens. We just work higher from here. I want to say we make one more push down, because I want to say it missed my order here by 1 tick. And I really thought when it went lower here, there you go, you see it. And you saw how quick that bounced out of there. There we go. And I thought I was going to get filled here, and I don't. And that's frustrating. And you can see it bounces out of there really quickly. That's not a good sign at all. Um, you know, a lot of times the bar will start to look like it's going to bounce out and then end up closing down, but that doesn't happen here. It ends up closing to the upside, and that's not a good sign, because now you got a failed second entry short that's got people trapped. And so I tighten my stop to 1 point, 1 tick above that little bar, and you know, and you see it going higher really quickly here. They're hitting stops now already, and it shoots on up pretty quick. And that's why we trade the way we trade. We ended up making, like I said, we ended up, and I got stopped out. So that was the trade. I've got the chart with all the trades on it, so I'm going to stop I'm going to pause it and stop this and go back to the live chart now, and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm back to the live chart now, and you can see we're still working higher here, and that's why you don't hang on to those trades, because, you know, I really thought we'd probably break it, make it at the most couple swings up and then a new low, but we haven't done that. There's too much buying going on. Will we eventually come back down and retest this low? I don't know. Maybe I don't have this drawn right. Maybe it was right here, and we already had the breaks and the new lows, and that's probably what it is right there. I probably just didn't have that drawn properly. Still doesn't change the trade. You still got the same setups, basically. I'm still thinking it's there. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't end up coming back down and retesting this low, but this may just turn out to be a range day. And the fact that we didn't make the target, and again, the way I found the target was came off the highs to this low, and then there's your correction. So there's the high of the correction. So I was looking for a target of right here. Will we make that? We haven't so far, and generally a failure to make that target means we're probably going to go further in the other direction. I'm a little miffed at why we didn't come back and at least retest this trend line, but I may not have it right. It may have been right there, and we had several breaks of it. But I really like that. It looks really good to me. I really like the low side. You can see it held prices really well until we made a double bottom out here and couldn't get any lower. And but let's talk about the trades. But anyway, we had the channel coming down. We had you could have looked at this as the break, or maybe this is the break, but we still made a new low. Either way, you had this channel working up. You had a break. You had the two perfect legs to a new high, and then it started selling off. Down here, it's been a little confusing. I haven't seen any reason to go short here yet, though, either. There's no reversal type pattern. We're still working higher. We're still in this channel. So until that happens, we're looking at going along. My guess is we're coming back to test this. Notice how we shot through there. This line is here because there's been support and resistance right across it. And we never tested it after we broke through, and that's, you know, it's usually not long before prices come back and test it. So we may work all the way back to here and then go lower. We could keep going higher. We just have to follow the price action rules and keep trading until, you know, we got to stay with this channel until we got a reason not to, just like we had to stay with this channel until we had a reason not to, which is now. So hopefully that makes sense. Somebody asked me yesterday why we didn't get a retest of yesterday's up channel, but we did. There's that up channel. There's the break, and there's a couple of legs to a new high, and then we started selling off. So I'm not sure why they didn't think, and here's where the day started, right here. And that's pretty obvious. That's holding prices until we got a break here, and then the move to a new high, and then boom. So, you know, I'm not sure what that person was seeing when they didn't think we had a retest. And you know, if it's a range type day, occasionally you won't get a retest because it'll trade the channel right down to the support, and then it can't get below there to make a retest. So, or it might not be able to get above there to make a retest. So that's not uncommon. But you can even see this short-term move. We had a little move going up, a break, a new high, and then boom. So, you know, you generally can find all these, even real short-term ones. You can find them generally, and they're there. So um, just like even coming down right here on this little two-legged move, you had prices moving down right there, and then we broke it, made a new low, and the second entry long, and we're off to the races to the high side again. So they're there. Sometimes they're easier to find than others. You know, like this one right here, I may be off on this one. That might be the channel right there, and that may be why, you know, we had the break right there. That's really two measured legs down with a little reversal pattern. So who knows? But generally, if you follow the rules, it keeps you on the right side. And let me just see, since we got a little more time here. People are always asking me about the tick charts. Your tick bars are not going to look like mine. That's, you know, doesn't mean that every provider, if you're using AMP, you know, AMP futures, which is who I use, and if you're using CQG data, then, you know, and you've got your chart set up to a 2,000 tick chart, and you're using NinjaTrader, it's still not going to look just like my chart. Tick charts are not static, and so they're always going to look slightly different. You might have had a beautiful setup bar here where, look, I didn't have one, so I used a limit order to enter on that trade. I'll talk about that in a minute. That's the thing. I never did talk about the trade, so that's why this video was so short. But I'm going to talk about the trades real quick. But, you know, tick charts are not static. No two will look alike. I could refresh this chart and it will look different than it does right now, because that's, you know, the way ticks are counted. Now, if you get a different provider, there are some providers that their tick data is horrible, and you don't want to be trading off of, you know, people ask me about Interactive Brokers all the time. You can't trade tick charts with IB. I don't even like their charts, period. Their data's junk, in my opinion. They have great commissions. Their margins are out of this, you know, are terrible. But commission-wise, they're great. You know, who wants to have to put up $3,000 margin to trade one contract in the ES to day trade? That's crazy, and it's too much money. And so for that reason, I mean, if you want to trade 10 contracts, you're talking about having an account of $30,000. I never keep that kind of money in my account because I don't want to keep any more money in my account than I need to trade with. Now, if you're losing, you know, if you're steadily losing money every day, then obviously that doesn't work for you. But if you're losing money every day, you should be on the simulator. So once you start making money consistently, you don't need more than about 3 times whatever your margin requirements are. That's it. You know, at the end of the month, sweep everything out and leave about 3. If, you know, if you're marginally good trading, you might want 4 times, but that should be it. You know, this idea that you need $40,000 or $50,000 in a chart, you know, I mean, an account to trade, that's crazy. You're just asking for trouble because, you know, what if you make a mistake one day and you got that kind of money in your account, you know, mistake can go against you hard where they're going to take you out. That's the thing about it. All this software is set up where you can't hardly lose more than you got in the market because they'll take you out as soon as your margin gets to too low a level. They'll automatically close all your trades. And so don't leave any more money in there than you need because then you can just give them more when you're wrong. And there's always the chance that I like AMP and I think they're a great company, but you hear about these, you know, companies every once in a while that go broke and they don't have, and then people can't get their money back. So don't leave a lot of money in an account. All you need is 3 or 4 times the margin you need to trade every day. So if you're trading, as an example, if you're trading 2 contracts every day or on each trade, and the margin's $400 per contract, well then guess what? You need $800 to trade. So multiply that by 3 or 4 at the most. That's $3,200. That's all you need to trade 2 contracts, unless you're losing consistently. Now, if you're losing every day, yeah, you might run out of money pretty quick. But if you're losing every day, guess what? You already know what I'm going to say. You shouldn't even be trading live. You ought to be on the simulator. Because if you can't make money on the simulator, how are you going to make money trading live? And you'd be surprised at how many people come in here and they'll trade 3 days on the simulator and have a pretty good day because the market does the same thing every day for 3 days. It goes straight up or straight down, and then all of a sudden it switches gears and they're like lost, and they have their worst day ever. That happens all the time. Or you get a range, or it's trending every day, and then suddenly you get a range day, and every time you enter, the market reverses, and that's kind of like what was going on right here. And this may turn out to be a range day, and so at this point we probably need a line right down here, and you can see that. We got back inside it, came back and tested it and went higher. And this has really kind of moved up now from where I originally had it earlier this morning. I'd call it right in there, maybe. I originally had it right here. That's where I originally had it, and I think I moved it down when we made those matching highs there, and then it kind of worked on both sides. So this line may move around as the day goes. I think that's probably it. It's a failed break there. Failed break higher there. Same thing here. By that time, it might have even been right there, and that looks pretty good. So that's where you're getting the most resistance and the most touches, right across there, to be honest. And this is where it was, right across there. But I'm thinking it's right in that area right there now. And it could end up being down here before it's over. So, always move your lines around, double check them, play with them to get the best spot. So it could end up being a range, and we may just end up, we found out the top, now we found out the bottom, we may end up in this range. Still wouldn't surprise me if we don't get a retest here off of this channel right here, but there may be too much buying down here to do that. So let's talk about the trades real quick. Prices were working down. Notice we made a double bottom, a higher high, a failed second entry short. We got a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. And, when you see those traps, especially when we made a double bottom and a higher high and then a higher low, it's almost going to be good for a scalp every time. And that was the first trade I saw this morning. I had to sit there for a little bit and wait on that to set up. And then I drew my trend lines here. I got them off the high side coming up through here first, drug them down, and it fits right there off that close. And then we got one bounce and then a second bounce. That's a second entry long right there off that trend line. Quick, easy move. I exited when prices touched this line, and that was an easy couple of points on the runners as well. And then boom, and look here. And you might have, I would say that somebody could have, if that little doji, if prices would have broke higher right there, I might have got trapped long. But if it broke higher, it probably would have gone higher. But notice we never got a break above a bar till right there. And if you'd entered right there, it's better to wait on a second entry after a move like that. So, it's better to wait here, and that's why I drew this in green. And even then, it was still risky because there's a lot of overlap. But you're looking for this retest, and you're going to get it most times. And so if you entered in either one of these spots, if you entered here, you were better off to use a limit order to try to get in down here so you could get out before you got to that EMA. And notice it found resistance. Even though it worked through, it found resistance. And then guess what? There's a trap right here. First entry short, second entry short. I didn't like this for a signal bar. It's too bearish. So I waited on this bar. And when prices broke above it, I dropped a limit order in here, back down just enough to get above that EMA, and that's kind of like a breakout pullback long, and then it shot higher again. Easy trade, and you're looking for I'm figuring we're going to get a move like that. I figure we're going to get a new high first, but you can see it's about a measured move as well. We got news coming out. Fed speaks in New York, so that might generate some movement right there. So be leery of that. I don't know why I can't get rid of that right there. But anyway, second entry long right there. I drew this in green. It's a little risky. and we were actually back up here. This is a breakout pullback long. It's a failed second entry short. We're still looking for the retest. Easy trade. Look how fast it moved up in and out of that quick. Could have got a couple of points off a runner probably there. I would have exited once you got all this overlap at the new high. And somebody asked me that I think they got trapped right here, but we've got the break and the new high now, and we've got strong resistance right here. So, you don't know if it's going to go lower, but I don't see any reason to go. If you got trapped above that bar, I think their chart had a little better setup than mine. There's a second entry long there, but notice it's not a very good setup, and it's right at the high after we've already had a failed break higher. So you definitely should have waited to at least here, but by the time that happens, you got two overlapping bars and two dojis. And so the only way you could think of, there is a failed second entry short here though, so right there. And so, but the only way you want to enter that, you don't want to enter that back up here. By that time, I wouldn't have even entered here because I'm thinking we're going to break out the top and fail and probably go lower. But if you did get trapped over here on the second entry or something, once you start to see all this overlap, that's a good clue to just, hey, if it comes back, let me get out of this. It gave you multiple chances to get out, and then it turns straight down. There's actually a short here because you went into this congestion and you broke up and had a little trap, and that's a nice reversal bar. By that time, you should have drawn that line and moved it up. And, man, that was the trade right there. Any runners were all safe. And then you got another chance to enter here. This was another one where there was a lot of overlap, but it broke higher and then turned down, but then it bounced back up again. So I waited on this bar, and when it broke lower, I dropped the limit order in there. It pulled back. You couldn't get too greedy here. You just want to kind of get back into the bar a tick or two. Anything more than 2 ticks, even 2 ticks may not have got filled on a limit order, but then it drops down really quick. And you're looking for prices to test this low. I mean, that's what you're looking for at a minimum. And notice it went much lower than that. It bounced off that channel line a couple of times. And then it comes back, and then and this is where it broke higher and then turned and went out the low side. So if you had a limit order sitting right there to go, or a stop order right there, that was great, but it did pull back. If you didn't go short there, when it broke higher and then started to turn down again, I would have used another limit order, and you see it came back pretty quickly and then moved on down. So just remember, you want to have enough room to get out before the next support or resistance area. That's the key. So if you get in way down here, there's your next support area. You don't have room to get out with a scalp. So either let the trade go by or use a limit order and hope it comes back and gets you and then goes down there. So that's the way I usually try to play it. And now we got a break of this, so I'm guessing we're going to end up getting a retest on this before it's over. We may find support right here. I don't know. We'll see what happens here, but we do have a break of the trend line now, or this little channel here. We overshot it, and now we've broke it. So we got a lower low. Look at that. We failed out the high side. We came down, made a lower low. So we could go lower here now. But that was really it. I haven't seen anything. You might have thought about going long here. That's the only trade I really see. There's no way to enter this up through here. That's a two-legged pullback to the EMA, the trend line, the previous support. So there's a long right there. Again, I would have tried to use a limit order. I don't know if it would have worked. I didn't see how quickly that took off. And that's it so far. So you might have thought about going long here, but I think that was really, really risky. Everything's still inside this trend channel, but we got a double bottom with a trap, and it is a second entry long. It's a failed second entry short and a second entry long, so I'm just going to draw that one in green. If I hadn't have been short there, I might have considered going long, but I was busy on the short side of it right there and wasn't even thinking about long at that point, so I was still managing my short trade. So, and that's all. That's really it for today. This is 30 minutes worth, so hopefully you're having a good trading day. I see an email over here. Somebody says their worst day ever. I haven't read the email. For that person, I'll just say, you're going to have bad days, and you use them to learn from. Study your chart and figure out where you went wrong, and you know, sleep it off, come back tomorrow and try to do better. Hopefully you're on the sim trader, you're on the simulator. If you're not, you probably need to get on there. Again, I hadn't read the email, so I don't know exactly what he's telling me happened over here. I'll look at it in a minute, but his subject says worst day ever. And I've been there and done that. I know how it's not a great feeling, but what I always tell people is tomorrow's a new day, and you're going to have days like that. Even once you get to winning consistently, you'll still have a day where you just don't read the price action right, and you get befuddled and you make a lot of mistakes. But generally what I tell people, if you have a losing trade and don't get mad, don't try to get it back. Get up and walk around, cool off, go take a break, drink you a soft drink, get you a glass of water. If you're a smoker, smoke that cigarette. I'm an anti-smoker, so I don't, but I know some of you smoke, and that's just the way it is. And so if you like that nicotine, go get you a nicotine fix, and then come back, and you'd be surprised how much clearer it'll look. But if you have a losing trade and you're befuddled, you'll make 100 mistakes if you don't get up and walk away from it for a little while. So that's always my suggestion: is get up, walk away, come back and reevaluate, and then usually you'll figure out, it'll be clear, and you'll say, hey, why did I, it'll be just crystal clear the mistake you made, and you start over and get it right. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And we'll see you next time.